I'm Matt Bichard here in Dallas for NAREIT's REIT World 2017. Joining me today is Keven Lindemann, Senior Director of Global Real Estate for S&P Global Market Intelligence. Keven, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be here, Matt.
Now, how would you characterize 2017 for REITs from a capital raising perspective, and any early thoughts on what you'd expect for 2018?
2017 has been, in my mind, surprisingly active from a capital raising perspective. When we look at the number, and we'd run these numbers every couple of weeks, when we looked at it at the end of October, we were up 24% year over year, and that's across common equity and senior debt and preferreds and everything, but still a 24% increase when there's a fair amount of economic uncertainty is pretty surprising. The sort of breakdown of how much senior debt was being raised to common equity is pretty consistent with last year. What we have seen is a lot of the capital raising has been, a lot of the activity has been with the communications companies and the data center companies. So that seems to be where a lot of the capital is flowing, maybe not too surprising there. And in fact, about 10% of the capital that's been raised this year, so it's about $76 billion, 10% has been with one company, with Crown Castle. In terms of an outlook for next year, it's kind of hard to see this pace being sustained. A lot of it's going to depend on whether the companies can identify growth opportunities. Of course, you have looming higher interest rates. And what we've seen recently is that equity valuations have been down. And with that, if companies are not able to issue common equity, which if they're trading below NAV, you would assume companies would be hesitant there. If companies are not able to issue equity, then their ability to issue debt's going to be limited, because then your debt ratios get all out of whack and the ratings agencies get, concerned, and so do investors. So I would expect that the activity level would probably slow down a bit in 2018.
And you mentioned some of the equity values. What have been, in your opinion, the biggest factors driving REIT share prices this year?
So, I feel like every year we do this, we talk about interest rates, but it's always a factor. Last year we had the introduction of real estate as the 11th GICS, and really believed that was going to have an impact. I think maybe we're starting to see that impact. We're starting to see more generalists come into the space. It hasn't been quite as dramatic as I think we expected it to be, but I think over the long term that will certainly have an impact. The general shift towards passive investments, I think is going to continue having an impact. You look at the institutional shareholders for these largest companies, and the biggest ones are the passive guys, and in many cases they own 12-13% of the stock. So that the money flowing into passive vehicles, I think, has had a pretty big impact too. And then just another theme we've seen a lot is just retail distress. I think some of the retail companies have been probably unfairly beaten up just because of what we're seeing and all the changes in retail.
Now, once again, looking at 2018, what are some of the most compelling trends or issues you see for commercial real estate?
So, two things I would say to that. One is the seemingly increasing importance of ESG with investors, with lenders, and the companies are certainly responding to that. It is a question we hear more and more from our clients. So I expect that to continue to increase in its profile and its importance. Two, I would say just the rapidly changing technologies that we've seen. The amount of venture capital that's flowing into commercial real estate technology companies is just astonishing. And not all of these companies will succeed, certainly. But some of the technologies out there, just ways of making the information flow more efficient, making buildings more efficient, all of those things I think will continue to increase in prominence in 2018. I think it'll be fun to watch.
Great. Kevin, thank you so much for joining.
Sure, good to be here.
For more information about Nareit's REIT World, be sure to visit Nareit's website, REIT.com.